Terraria has a metric ton of different weapons. When we think about the best weapons in the game, weapons like the Terra Prisma, Zenith or Vampire Knives come to mind fairly quickly. For earlier progression stages, we might think about the Star Fury, Mega Shock or Crystal Serpent, and those are just a few examples of outstandingly good weapons. But what if I told you the best weapons in Terraria aren't even weapons? People rarely talk about some of the most effective items for defeating bosses or completing events. These tools are often overlooked even though they are available right from the start. Let's take a look at dynamite and bombs first. Dynamite and bombs are available right after the demolitionist moved in and before any boss is defeated. And dynamite on its own is essentially enough to defeat the entire pre-hard mode with the right know-how. Speedrunners, for example, use dynamite and bombs almost exclusively to defeat bosses fairly quickly and consistently. And this for any good reason there is. With 250 base damage at a high armor penetration, dynamite is completely out of control in the early game, and under the right conditions and with a little bit of practice it beats pretty much any other early weapon by miles. Pair that with an easy early access and a fairly cheap price, which was even reduced in 1.3. This turns dynamite into one of the best weapons even before the first boss is defeated. You can make areas explosion proof by placing chests above it and test around all kinds of strategies and practice the timing of explosions, because timing is pretty much key for this. I highly recommend testing it for bosses like King Slime first. If you want more weapons for farming, lava is by far one of the best. Lava has been a staple in farming and mob control for a long time, and for a good reason. All we need is a bucket and a lava pool to get started, both of which can be obtained, just like dynamite, before we face our first boss. Paired with the right structure or farm, lava has become the bane of millions of Terraria mobs. Keeping a bucket of lava in your inventory is always a smart idea, as it allows for efficient farming and digging every time we need it. But there's a more unusual weapon, something that some players may already be using effectively: minecarts. Minecarts are completely broken in almost every regard. They can move faster than most bosses and all mobs, and minecart tracks can be arranged in ways that let you cheese the majority of bosses or even entire events if you want to. But it doesn't stop here. With a little bit of know-how, their damage output can be insanely OP. Without going too deep into the mechanics of how the damage is calculated, it's actually pretty simple. A minecart deals damage and knockback to enemies it collides with higher damage dealt at higher speeds. If you place two rails side by side and hammer them into bumpers, this can be exploited to maximum effect. By doing it this way, we maintain full speed and everything that touches the character will get hit immediately for massive damage. It's a pretty common strategy in speedruns because all you need is a bit of wood and some iron or lead. As you see, minecarts can deal massive damage, and even the small edge some bosses spawn won't touch you because they are immediately knocked back or instantly destroyed by a cart. And on top of that, we can still use other weapons and throw dynamite to increase our damage output even more. This can be completely broken in pre-hard mode once you understand how to use it properly, especially because of the easy access, just like dynamite, without the need to rely on random drops from mobs or chests. And that's also part of the reason why it's being used in the speedrun community. They really do hate RNG. Apart from this, there's mentionable items to combine to create the ultimate weapon for pretty much everything. Teleporter and traps can be abused for pretty much every single boss in the game by building a timed setup that teleports our character around without bosses even touching us. This has been used for ages now for all kind of AFK boss farms and still is one of the most broken strategies to cheese bosses in good old Terraria fashion. And on a little side note, it was initially part of the reason why I got addicted to Terraria. It's just a lot of fun to play around with different setups and a very rewarding feeling once we manage to build a farm that actually does what it is supposed to do. But anyway, for the next time we think about progressing fast through the early game, consider using some of this to your own advantage. Apart from teleporter and wires for traps, all of this is accessible right from the beginning, which makes especially dynamite one of the most effective weapons overall, and it can easily line up with weapons like the Star Fury or does even better in many circumstances. Do you think it is fair to use these strategies, or do you have even better ideas? Let us all know in the comments and subscribe to my channel to not miss out on more content. This was Box, and I see you next time.